In the city of Chicago, we know there is the migrant crisis, but there is another crisis going on in the city of Chicago. It's the housing crisis. Because there's a lot of vacant land in the Black community that's just there and it's idle and it's not being built up. And then you also have a lot of African Americans in Chicago that are getting properties taken away from them. Their family wealth is being taken from them in that way by the city or Cook County, according to certain people. Now, I found out about this a long time ago when a lady on Fox News was talking about all of the properties that are vacant in the Black community that are not being used.
Describe the services that the illegal immigrants and migrants are getting as opposed to what the people of the city need. Do you want to start, Natasha? What are you seeing that they're getting that's really getting under your skin?
Yeah, and let me be clear. We were able to stop the city from putting the migrants in the school building. So they're not in our school building here in the city of Chicago. We were successful in that aspect. But what we see across the city of Chicago is that they're getting access to, they're getting up to $9,000 in funding. They're getting access, they're getting rental assistance, they're getting support, free childcare, free transportation, and with the housing situation, we're noticing now the city of Chicago has been scrambling to really find places for them to go. So they're making deals with landowners. And the problem with that is that in the Black community, there's a lot of absent landowners, and they've left dilapidated properties in our neighborhoods. We have fought for years to try to get those dilapidated properties to come back into the community. And now all of a sudden, now that there's this money falling from out the sky for migrants, these landowners are now using the money to renovate to allow migrants to get in. Let me give you an example. This one landowner in South Shore has a 8-unit building, designated 8-unit building. This man was allowed by the city of Chicago to turn this 8-unit building into a bed for 69 migrants. And he's already have a history of being a slum landlord. So we're now beginning to see that they're prioritizing migrants in housing and then also utilizing land that really should be renovated and brought back into the community.
Meanwhile, when it comes to the migrant crisis, you see the city of Chicago jumping quickly to renovate these places and give the money to slum landlords, as the sister said, where a lot of the Blacks in Chicago are being left out. Now, there are a few people that I want to cover today on this.
Good afternoon. My name is Jessica Jackson. And as it pertains to the Committee on Housing and Real Estate, I want to deal with the real estate aspect because we talk a lot about housing as it pertains to low-income housing, subsidized housing, and all that. But we don't talk enough about property that's owned and how whatever it is that you're doing or not doing is affecting that. Now, I've been coming here for almost a year now, talking about how the city of Chicago and Cook County has illegally been trying to take my mother's property through probate, and zero amount of help has come from you as the person that's over housing and real estate. I don't know if it's because of the lack of concern or if it's because of the lack of competency. Maybe you don't know how to deal with people who own property. That could be a possibility. But then I know it's not a possibility because you got what? The city equipment coming and doing a driveway at your house? So you know what it is to take care of real estate, and you know what it is to get the city involved because they're involved to do your private property, right? But when it comes to like my case, I can't get any type of support from you. Now, the fact that you don't understand the importance of real estate and the ownership of real estate when it comes to Black people, but you understand the rights of people from other countries, Puerto Ricans, Palestinians, Hispanics, you got full comprehension of that. But you don't understand how Cook County is stealing Black people's property here in Chicago, in the United States, but here in Chicago. And like right now, while you holding the conversation with him, while I'm talking to you about this, that might be part of the reason why you don't know, because you don't pay attention. to people of this skin color, to Black people, when they're not hitching their wagon to brown, when it's just about Black people. You don't get that. So I'm asking you to deal with the fact that Black people's property is getting stolen from Cook County, the city of Chicago, and that you tend to that problem. And if you're not equipped to do it, then you hand it over to someone who is. But you just don't sit back and let it keep happening and letting a citizen come with a concern and you ignore it.
So that sister's always cooking, man. I mean, with hot grease. The sister was saying some very strong things. She's always there, building it up. And again, she mentions the same thing that we're talking about. And Mayor Brandon Johnson was not even there. But she was saying, listen, when it comes to these migrants, you guys can find anything for them. But what about those in the African-American community? What about the Blacks? And again, Chicago is one of those legendary Black cities, and you keep hearing this every city council meeting. So it must be a lot of frustration in that city because you keep hearing it all the time. But this sister always brings the heat. Watch how she starts this off.
So piggybacking off of what Miss Jessica said, you already know how I start with my good old voicemail from the law department.
We were trying to get through on over the long weekend. In any event, there are three things you can do if you want money for demolished property. If we're just talking about a little bit of money, the Alderman's Committee on Finance, and I'm surprised your Alderman didn't mention that to you. If this is a more serious problem, and I rather suspect it is, and before I sell out, I'll get out.
Yeah, so he's still here. So he's, but that's 17th Ward, Alderman David Moore. So my issue is with you, Brian Sitcho Lopez, is you saw me outside last summer protesting about the city of Chicago demolishing my property. You also came to me and said that you would research it, you would look it up, you would see what's going on. And to this day, I have not heard nothing from you. But again, you're fighting for some land that's over in Palestine that we cannot get to when my land right here in the city of Chicago has been hijacked from the city of Chicago like it always does. The city of Chicago, building with the help of the building department, loves to demolish our properties or take our properties. And we get no help. We get no help at all. And it's a cycle. I've been coming down here for a year, and you have yet to reach out to me, and you are the chairman of housing and real estate. Everything does not have to be affordable housing. It was a commercial property with 4 apartments. That's my generational wealth, okay? And Black people, we are never going to be able to pass anything down if the city of Chicago keeps taking our properties or demolishing them and then do not compensate, which is the violation of the Fifth Amendment. Which the city of Chicago knows how to manipulate that, because they feel like if they knock the building down, right, for emergencies, which whatever that means, right, that because it's not the Fifth Amendment, because they're not putting a railroad or a roadway there, you're still demolishing somebody's property and you're not compensating them. Which comes to Blight Property Act 1947, which you guys should look up, because it still has to go to the governor. The governor has to go to the attorney general, and you still have to eminent domain it if you feel like it's an emergency or if it's a blighted property. Know the law, because I do, and I'm not even a lawyer. I need help. I need help. Sit y'all help.
So that particular sister, she's always at all the meetings, and she's losing property, lost houses, duplex, as she said. And what did she do? She asked for help. They said they were going to follow up with her. They never followed up with her. And it's sad, right? Because if you have an 8-unit building that's been passed on to you, and now the city is trying to take it, or they don't want to help you with it, I don't think she has no reason to lie, because you keep hearing this over and over and over and over again in Black Chicago. And Chicago is not cheap. I mean, it ain't New York City, but it ain't cheap. Now let me go to this brother. He's 43 years old. Let's check him out.
The convenience of these cameras is, no matter how you line us up to speak, it's still going to be heard. So recently, well, just passed was the expressions to support for passage of Illinois House Bill 5314 and 5432 and Illinois Senate Bill 3680, known as the Community Safety Through Stable Homes Act. There's no stability in our community. There's no housing stability. Most of the indigent, most of the disenfranchised, most of the disinvested people are Black Americans. But you passing this bill, but I know what this bill goes to, our new arrivals. However, I've been in this city for 43 years. My HMIS number, once again, is 355061, Mr. Lopez. Well, and I don't get it, but I do get it. I do get the new fight, y'all. The new fight is against us, Black Americans, Black people. I'm speaking to y'all in this room. Understand that we up against the wall, slammed up against it, pushed up against it. If I'm homeless, then I can't take care of the 2 children, right? My 2 boys, right? But y'all think y'all gonna continue to fight me over. And it's senseless. But if there's laws or a law department here, then they should be arguing for the citizen and saying, wait, that's not wrong. If this gentleman been waiting since July of 2015 for housing, what's going on? If he has went through such extremes to get housing, Pacific Guard Mission Man Marvels program for 1 year, at Safe Haven, completed all these in a stellar fashion. I'm not a weak man. I'm not an unintelligent man, once again. So help me to understand what a consideration that y'all have went through extremes. Remember, 600 million, 247 million. What was the tune up? 70 million just last. We sat in this room and y'all delegated over that. But what about this? How did I slip through the cracks? How are we slipping through the cracks? And if y'all keep just putting y'all heads down or just allowing it, we gonna be out the crack. That's where they pushing us out the city. So to the single mom in here with the kids, trust me. So to the independent father in here with the kids, or to the family that's in here, the Black Americans. I'm speaking to y'all, speaking to us, and to the so-called allies. But these people are aware of what's going on with us in the city. They just had a whole meeting talking about Black people. Y'all oftentimes do that, the Black and the brown. But I'm noticing that the brown are advancing and the Black are going down, even in the counts in these rooms, even in the counts in the commissioning room. So help us. We got to help each other, because they going to hear us. They going to hear this eloquence. They going to be like, who cares?
Now, I believe this particular brother has had some struggles with, I'm not gonna say homelessness or whatever, trying to get the resources for Black Chicago and the other aspects of Chicago. And again, this is a brother that's at every city council meeting, and you hear it. And again, while these people are talking, they're the people, the aldermen, they're being disrespectful as it appears. But this last sister, she gonna bring the heat.
Good afternoon, Chicago. I am here to help remind you all that the Black Americans of this country are the only group that built America. No other group has came here to help anyone other than themselves. And I feel a sense of entitlement from non-Black Americans thinking that they have a higher platform than the ones who were here and have been deprived for centuries. At this time, our Black representatives are showing us that they are not for uplifting their own people based off the policies that they have. I understand the Democratic Party, Black folks is the backbone of that party. And for the past 60 years, we have not had one exclusive bill specifically for us so we can uplift our own people. It has constantly been sabotaged by other groups coattailing off our struggle. And I think that is not fair for the Black Americans and for you all not to have our support, not to support us when it comes to reparations, when it comes to fair housing, when it comes to owning own businesses. It reminds me of a Black Klansman. Those are the symbols that I see us having with the new Black politicians, are the Black Klansmen of our society. Their policies have always been anti-Black. And I'm here to let you know that November, when it's time to vote, if we don't have our reparations check, there will be no vote for the Democratic Party. If we don't have an anti-Black crime bill, there will be no vote for the Democratic Party. If we don't have the police being responsible and accountable for killing us, there will be no Black vote. And I'm a young Black voter, and my grandparents fought, and some of them even died, so everyone can have the opportunity to have justice. But this country has never provided justice as a collective for Black Americans. So I just want to let you all know that you need to show our ancestors some respect and cut us our reparations check.
So you hearing what she's saying? If you don't give us what we want, we need our reparations check. We're going to go to Republican. Like, these people are tired. The way that these city governments, and I'm going to say this because we know we have the delineation thing going on between Blacks and, let me just say, or let's say some of the Blacks or even the Latino community. The way that these city governments cause this division, especially with some of the migrants that might be, you know, in the diaspora, it's starting to make a lot of the brothers and sisters that are from hashtag FB, hashtag ADOS, African American historically communities feel like, all right, well then it's us versus everybody else then. And it necessarily don't have to be like that, but how are certain people going to feel when you feel like as a community, you're the ones targeted? She said, hey, we know we built this country, you've been here. Why are these people coming in and they're not getting the things that we're doing? It's not just at anybody in the Black diaspora, but this is anybody, you know, the Hispanics, whoever else. And now people are in Chicago, in the Black community in Chicago, like, look, it's us or them. But guys, it's O'Shea Duke Jackson back at again of the episode of Fair Use. We're out.